they had breeding farms because they couldn't bring in, after the early 1800s, they couldn't bring in new slaves from Africa, so they would just breed them, and they would have breeding farms, and they would just treat them like they were animals, and they would put men, grown ass men, slaves, with girls as soon as they could menstruate, as soon as they could have babies, they would impregnate these children so that they could have children, and then they would rip these babies from them and they would sell them off like animals. And you talking about only 2%. Oh, white people aren't that bad. It's not about all white people being bad, but slavery was brutal. And we got to tell the truth about it. America benefited from it. Trillions of dollars made off of the backs of black people, and black people got absolutely nothing. The other thing they are trying to say is, oh, white people are the ones who helped abolish slavery. And so now they want to be the hero in everybody's story, right? You want to be the white hero. And yes, there were white people who fought to abolish slavery, but white people wasn't the ones who enslaved them in the first place. Okay. I'm not saying not to acknowledge white abolitionists, because we absolutely should. There were black abolitionists that worked on the side, alongside of white abolition. And I'm not even saying all white people are bad, nowhere near. Love white people, got white people in my family, got white friends, all of that. But let's be real. Let's speak the truth. Okay. Let's be real. It didn't end because of the moral awakening of white people alone. In fact, President Lincoln didn't even want to. If he could have captured the South, if he could have had the South without ending slavery, he said, I would. Slavery ended because of black resistance. Enslaved people revolting. Remember what they did to Nat Turner. Not only did they decapitate him, they ate his remains. They cannibalized Nat Turner. This is the history that they want to remove from the history books, of course. And this is what they want to remove from the Smithsonian. But they didn't fuck around and gave us the internet, because they're not going to ever remove everything, because they got people like you, they got people like me that are speaking the facts and speaking the truth. Understand this. Even during the Civil War, nearly 200,000 black men enlisted in the Union Army and the Navy to fight for liberation. White people weren't the only ones. White people weren't fighting to end slavery. They were fighting to control the resources. And black people were fighting for their lives. So it's framed as white people ended slavery to erase the blood and the sacrifice and the agency of black people. But in actuality, they had very different motives. So you got to think about this, because you keep talking about this white people bad. And nobody's saying that all white people are bad. I'm not saying that. But ending slavery didn't actually end oppression. Because after slavery came black codes, came Jim Crow, came lynching and redlining and predatory lending and mass incarceration. All these systems that created and upheld by people who may not have owned slaves, but they still upheld, and they do to this day uphold white supremacy, and they profit